Hi, my dears. Today I will talk about my seriously story. I don't see my best friend since 2 days, and I want to sitting at the back of the classroom, trying not to get noticed by our teacher as we whispered and giggled to each other. We had so much to catch up on, and as I listened to her describe the party she attended on Sunday, someone caught my eye. Who is that guy over there? I had no idea. He must be a new boy, and he was so attractive. Oh, Maya, do you have a crush on him? I didn't need to respond. My flushed face confirmed that I did. Why don't you go over and talk to him? Then, despite the fact that acting in that manner was completely out of character for me, I took my big breath and went over to introduce myself. I am Maya. Who are you? My name is Joan. So, you must be new around here. If so, would you like to go to lunch with me today? So I can show you around and introduce you to people. If so, that would be awesome. See you at the cafeteria. I returned and informed my friend about what had transpired, and she was overjoyed for me. Now, don't waste time. Make sure you get a date with him before someone else snaps him up. We became inseparable pretty much immediately after meeting because we got along so well and he was such a good laugh. It was almost the end of the semester and we had so many plans for the break. We were going to go on picnics at the beach and take long walks through the countryside. But the thing I was most looking forward to was going to the festival. It was held every year in June, and it was always so much fun because bands from all over the nation would be there. I arrived early and waited for him. After a short while he rushed over, saying, "Hi Maya, sorry I'm late. It's okay, I was early anyway." We presented our tickets to the gatekeeper and interned. Inside, tents and marquees were scattered throughout the area. Some of them advertised bands and artists who would be performing there throughout the day, while others sold goods of various kinds. We strolled from stall to stall, stopping to make purchases occasionally. "Okay, I will go get us some food and drinks, and I will meet you back here." I watched as John left, and then I entered the tent. As soon as I was inside, I left a sense of mastery. In the center of the tent, a seated old woman had a crystal ball and tarot cards laid out on a table. As I approached her, I was startled to see an image of myself directly in front of me. It's definitely a mirror, Maya, but when my reflection in the mirror began to move on its own, I realized it was not a mirror at all. Instead, it was someone else who resembled me identically. "Hello, this is strange, because we look exactly like each other." "Yes, it almost seems like we are twins, but neither of us has a twin." As we talked more, it became clear that we were twins because we were born at the same time and on the same day. It's strange that they are in the same location, but our parents should have told us that we had a twin. I am assuming she was Ella because she said she lived alone with her dad, whereas I do with my mom. They must have broken up and chosen to bring one twin to home with them apiece. We sat and talked and shared details of our lives with one to another. And when I learned about Ella's life and how different it was from mine, I felt terrible for her because I lived in a large house with my mom and we had everything we wanted. But Ella's life sounded terrible because they lived in a tiny house and her dad was extremely poor. It's unfair. You were lucky to live with mom. I prefer living with my mother, so I don't want to swap lives with you. When Ella found out that I was not going to agree to swap lives with her, she became very irate. Suddenly, she ran up to the fortune teller and spoke to her. Is there anything you can do to help me swap lives with my twin? Yes, I can cast a spell for you. No, please don't. I don't want to swap lives. But the fortune teller refused. Then she laughed evilly and left the tent. I tried to follow her, but I could not see where she had gone. As I looked around, I saw Rick waiting outside with a plate of food and drinks in his hand. But I had lost my appetite and I did not feel like staying at the festival any longer. I'm sorry, Joan, but I'm not feeling well, so I'm going home. I decided not to tell my mother about what had happened because I did not want her to find out that I had seen my twin. Oh no, do you want me to go with you? No, it's okay. You stay here, enjoy the rest of the festival. Are you sure? Yes, honestly, I will see you tomorrow. I was starting to feel pained at the thought of what had just happened, and worried that I might have to switch lives. I tried to block it out of my mind, but I could not. I simply informed her that I didn't feel well and asked if she would like me to call a doctor to visit you. She replied, "No, I will be fine. I'm probably just tired. I'm sure after a good night's sleep I will feel a lot better. I will bring you up a hot chocolate when you get into bed. Okay, sweetheart?" My mother brought my drink and kissed me as I went upstairs and curled up on my bed, trying not to think about Ella any longer. Good night and restful night, sweetheart. I know you will feel better in the morning. But when I woke up the next morning, things were a whole lot worse as soon as I opened my eyes. I knew that the spell had worked. I did not recognize anything in the room, and I had no idea where I was before I had the chance to even think about what had happened. I heard a knock at the bedroom door, and then a voice said, "Come on, Ella, hurry and get up. You need to make breakfast." Oh my God, that must be my dad? I'm in Ella's body now? The panic started building up inside of me again. I know that I had to get out there. So, instead of going down to the kitchen to make breakfast, I crept down the stairs, slipped out of the front door, and ran down the street. It was a really rough neighborhood, and I had never been in the part of town before, so I had no idea how to get home. I ran down the street to the left, but as soon as I turned the corner, I saw that I had reached a dead end. I turned around and ran back in the opposite direction. I just kept on going and going until eventually I started to recognize some of buildings. I let a sigh of relief. Thank God. I know where I am now. It took me about half an hour more, but finally I reached my house. As there she was sitting at the kitchen table. My twin, when Mom saw me, her face fell and shocked, and she let out a loud scream. "I am Maya, Mom." I told my mother everything that had occurred at the festival. And this is my twin sister, who has switched lives with me. "I am Maya." Mom's face clearly showed that she is torn, as did I. Without saying a word, my mother came over and hugged me. I was surprised. "How did you recognize me?" "I was completely perplexed when I realized it was your birthmark on your elbow. But if Ella had switched bodies with me, wouldn't that mean she would have the birthmark instead?" "Oh my God, are you stupid?" "I did not switch bodies with you. So, how did I end up in your house?" "I sneaked into your house and gave you a sedative. Once you were under the influence of medication, I took you hostage and transported you to my house, where it was simple for me to change into your clothing and return to my mother's house." I gasped as I stared at Ella, and when my mother stood out and asked, "How could you do such a thing to your own twin sister?" Ella started crying. I have had such a miserable existence because my father does not have any money and relies entirely on me. I only wanted to get to know you, Mom, and when I heard her say it, I could not help but I feel bad for her. It's true, Mom, and I'm so grateful that I was the one, she said. It's true, Mom. I'm very happy that I got to live with you. I really has not been fair on Ella. You are right. I could not help but feel sorry for her. I have a notion, Maya, that we can put this right. Ella looked so happy. Would you really do that for me? I cannot believe it, especially after everything I have done. Of course, I will do it after all. How about if we take turns living with Mom for 1 week in poverty and 1 week in wealth? I really appreciate your offer, but I cannot accept it because I'm your sister and that's what sisters do for each other. Since you have no idea how difficult it is to live at my house, perhaps I can come up with a better solution. I turned to face Ella as she turned to face me and said, how about if we go to court and ask for Ella to move in with us? If I tell the courts about the terrible conditions she is living in and how horribly her dad is treating her, he will make me come home or there will not be anyone to make him dinner. You just leave him to me. Mom picked up her phone and dialed his number. We listened as she told Dad exactly what she thought about him and how he had been treating Ella. When she put the phone down, she turned to us and smiled. I don't think you will be getting any more trouble from him. I both yelled for joy, and she rushed over to wrap her arms around me. Suddenly John entered her home. Hi Maya, I'm just popping by to make sure you are okay. How is Johnny Froze? Oh, what's going on? We all laughed. Hi Rick, I said. It's a long story from that day, and we never heard again from her dad. I was so happy to have found my twin, and from the moment she moved in, it felt like the last piece of our family puzzle had fallen into place. I said, it's a long story, but from that day on, we never heard from her dad. Did you like my story? Don't forget to both like and subscribe our channel.